So guys, today we are going to learn auto scaling group. So what is auto scaling? Actually, auto scaling, we can define like that. Auto scaling helps you ensure that you have the correct number of Amazon EC2 instance available to handle the load for application, like client load. Once client start accessing your EC2 instance, so make sure is auto scaling group can add, remove EC2 instance easily, right? So how is going to be work is AWS auto scaling monitor your application and automatically add or remove capacity from your resources group in real time as demand change. Before we configure auto scaling, we need to add template or there are two kind of template, kind of a snapshot. It will be your EC2 snapshot. So there are two kind of a snapshot in AWS. One is launch configuration and the second one is launch template. So what is the launch configuration is an instance configure template that an auto scaling groups user to launch EC2 instance, include the ID of AMI, the instance type, key pair. So during, like, once you create EC2 instance, then you need to create a launched template, or the second one is launch template and launch configure. In launch configure, once you start to create launch configuration, you cannot modify. If you select your process as T2.micro, the T2.micro, right? If you are going to increase your CPU speed like T2.large, you cannot do it. You need to delete it existing one and create the new one. So in a launch template, you can easily modify your snapshot, right? So mostly I would recommend go for launch template. So how we can create or configure the auto scaling group? First, what we need to do, we need to add a EC2 instance or Apache server, create elastic load balancer, and then register your instance or web server into a elastic load balance. Then after that, create a template and then create auto scaling. So what auto scaling gonna do? So auto scaling will monitor your application load and automatically add or remove capacity from your resources group in real time. So now I'm going to create a launch template. In the last class, we learned about load balancing, right? How to create load balance. So I'm not gonna create in this video. I'm not gonna create load balance. I'm not gonna configure load balancer. So only I'm going to create a launch template. So here is a quick overview. Like in the last class, I mentioned you guys, here is a load balancer, right? And here is a load balancer, and our client is using a web server through DNS, right? So once the client requests here to access the database or web server, load balancer, he equally distribute the load to all EC2 instances or all database server, right? And like 30% he'll be gonna be distribute load here, 30% here and 30% here, right? And load balancers keep looking for the health check for all EC2 instance. Once all the health is not good or something is going to be failure, like this one is this EC2 instance is going to be failure, or it has the full, like the CPU is going to be utilized 100%, then auto scaling auto scaling groups going to be activate and add another resources here. So the next time load balancer will send the request in this EC2 instance, until that one is released, like the load is released, or is if it's fail or shut down, it will when it's going to be come back, reboot again, and then load balancer will remove this additional EC2 instance, not load balancer, auto scaling group. So this is a quick overview. So here is my Apache web server is working. I'm going to check is it working or not. I copy the public IP. So Apache web server is work. So I'm going to copy AMI ID. So I need it in auto scaling group. Before creating auto scaling group, I'm going to create a launch template. Launch template is right here. So first you need to name it my launch template, then click here my AMI ID. If I paste here, it will show me here, so it's easy to select me. Instance type was t2.micro single core. My key pair, I use it the new key pair. Security group ABC, I use it in my EC2 instance. So further down here, create is asking for network. Anyway, I'm not going to add network interface. So create is been created my launch template. View my launch template. So in my launch template, I click here and my AMI ID is being EC2 instances here. So my AMI ID t2.micro. So as I mentioned, you launch template and what is the second one, launch configuration, what are the difference. So in launch template you can modify, you have modification option. You can modify your launch instance type anytime. You can add for large t2.large. So I'm not going to modify now. Now we have a launch template with the configuration of EC2 instance, which we have created, right? So now we are going to launch, we are going to add a auto scaling group here. First name it my auto scaling group. Here is asking for your template, right? So my launch template I just created, right? So you guys can see all the configuration, EC2 instance configuration is pull here. I'm going to click next. Here is asking for, so this here is the launch template. Here is network VPC default network is pick it up. We can add here a subnet, so we can add multiple subnet here by clicking this one. So it's being created. Next, for next step is asking for load balancing. We have already load balancer is already attached, already is running in here. So I attach the existing one, or I can attach the new load balancer, but I have already created, so I'm going to attach the same one. And now the next one is the target group is asking for target. So I have already target group in attached with the load balancer, and here is the health check. So in every 5 minutes it will ping each EC2 instance load balancer and check the health, right? So if anything is going to be failure or shut down any EC instance, it will the auto scaling group will add another instance and replace the instance with the failure one, or the one that has the CPU utilization is 100%, so it is going to be replaced. So next, So here it's going to be asking you for the capacity. I'm going to keep to 2, and here is 5 capacity for 5. We can add here up to 20 EC2 instance, but so we define the size of the auto scaling group, right? But we can change. So any like minimum I need to anytime my EC2 instance, if any EC2 instance fail, it will launch 2 EC2 instance, right? And maximum will be 5. Desired capacity, whatever capacity you need it, and minimum we need to. Once the EC2 instance fails or Apache web server fail, it will launch 2 instance automatically. And if the load is getting more, so it will launch up to 5 EC2 instance. Once the traffic is full, like 100% utilize the 2 desired capacity instance, so it will add 5 more instance. And when the capacity is full for 5, it will stop adding the another auto scaling will stop the adding another instance, and your infrastructure is going to be very. So auto scaling cannot go beyond 5 capacity. Auto scaling policy cannot be scaled anymore after 5. So next one is target tracking policies. So here we can add 80% if all the target EC2 instances, the CPU utilization here CPU utilization is going to be 80%. It will auto scaling group will add another instance, like here. If it's going to be 80%, all of 3, the CPU utilization is going to be full 80%. So auto scaling group will add another instance, this instance here.
Did not yet discuss SMS.
So next, and it's been created now. So here you can review it. So all good, looks good. Next, so auto scaling group is created here, right here. So once we click here, go for activity, screen is small. So as I mentioned, desired capacity is 2, and minimum 2, and maximum capacity is 5. Click on activity. Here I should say success. Okay, click here, right? Click here. We can create notification here. So launch temp, terminate, okay, failure, right? So I didn't create notification. I'm going to refresh it. Is nothing is running right here, so you don't see any EC2 instances because there's nothing is running. So let's go back to the EC2 instance dashboard, and I'm going to restart or stop or terminate. Okay, yes. My Apache web server is running and is launched 2 EC2 instance. Auto scaling group is launched 2 EC2 instance because of the load traffic was high, maybe. So I'm going to check. No, they are running. The auto scaling group added two more Apache server here. Before it was running only one Apache server. Going back to the auto scaling group here, and it should show the activity right here. I click here my auto scaling group and activity log here in activity history. So it says successfully launch to EC2 instance, right? So you can see, so go back to auto scaling group here, and it says 3 instances are running, right? I'm going back to EC2 instance. I'm going to restart or shut down one of them, the main Apache server. Just keep adding instance because of the load. So I'm going to restart this one, stop. It will add more EC2 instance. Come on, shut down. So I stop one, and it's going to be add another one here, right? So it's think the one of Apache server is shut down because of the load, and it's going to be add another one here and another one here. So it will keep adding if the load the CPU utilization is going to be 80%, it will keep adding this one. If I shut it down another one, it will add more instance here. So this is the auto scaling. I show you how to work auto scaling. So first what you need to do, create a EC2 instance Apache server, create elastic load balancer, registered your registered your instance in a target group, create and launch template, and then auto scaling groups, and then restart or make it more load on your server. It will keep auto scaling will scale your resources, add or remove automatically.